Hi everyone. On August 16th, the Holy Orthodox Church celebrates the memory of Archbishop Timothy of Evripos, who was also the founder of the Pendeli Monastery. Now, Timothy was born to a very pious priest in the year 1510 and was raised by his parents in a spirit of godliness and wonderment about the things of God. However, he was not just in wonder because of the things he was being taught, but also because he had a natural disposition towards the things of God, completely astonished by the things that he found around him and always wanting to pursue the things of the faith. So it could be said that by temperament alone, he was destined for the priesthood. Now, his natural abilities and inclinations were spotted fairly early on by the Bishop of Evripos, who took him under his wing and allowed him to continue his education. And in fact, Timothy was ordained a deacon by this man and eventually a priest who assisted him greatly in managing the diocese. When finally his spiritual father and archpastor reposed in the Lord, the people who knew Timothy so well at that point clamored for him to be made bishop, and indeed that is what happened. In fact, he was also made an archbishop and put over a fairly large see. However, the enemy of our salvation, who is always seeking to bring us down in one way or the other, finally went after Timothy. Considering the easy life he had had to that point in a spirit of godliness and really no problems at all, it was bound to happen, especially after Timothy became bishop. And in fact, the Sultan at that time really went after Timothy because he was absolutely inclined to persecute the Orthodox and didn't want anyone around who was even mildly wanting to continue or even spread the faith. Well, Timothy in this case was actually saved by the favorite in the Sultan's harem. Now, that might seem odd to us, but in this case, it was a Greek Orthodox woman who had been captured and forced into this position and actually bore the son of the Sultan, or at least one of him. And she would go on later in her life to become someone who was quite powerful in the realm. But in this case, she helped Timothy escape. And he did, and headed into the mountains and founded the monastery of Pendeli, a monastery that was also surrounded by many robbers in the region. But as they saw that the monks there really had nothing worth stealing, they left them alone, and especially because they actually admired their life. In fact, many of the robbers in that region ended up becoming monks because of this great example. Well, as time went on, Timothy would eventually found several smaller monastic communities and go to several different places whenever different things popped up at the instigation of the evil one in order to pursue him or try to bring him down. In one case, there was another woman who was indeed the wife of a local governor, and she had had her son stolen, kidnapped, by pirates in the area. She went to St. Timothy and asked for his help, and Timothy prayed deeply for this young man, and in fact a storm at sea arose which caused the pirate ship to come crashing in, and the son was saved. The wife of this Muslim governor was so enthralled with what had happened and so completely won over by the prayers of Timothy that she abandoned Islam and became an Orthodox Christian. Well, near the end of Timothy's life, where he had served as an archbishop so nobly, including one instance where he actually came up in a property dispute against another great saint, Philothea of Athens, in which case there was a misunderstanding and he eventually abandoned any claim to this property for her sake. He decided to go to a small island named Kea. And he was out in a boat and had no way of getting there. So he took his cassock off, held it up as a sail, and lo and behold, the wind took him straight to this island of Kea, where he indeed did end his life. And in fact, that very same year, on August 16th. St. Timothy served as an example for many, many people, and his relics are actually at the monastery of Penteli to this day, and in fact emitted a wonderful fragrance and were responsible for many cures to the pilgrims that came there. He founded the area in Kea that he was at because he saw and found an icon of the Mother of God that was buried there. This icon was also taken and kept as a great relic at the monastery for many, many years, since the late 1500s, until, unfortunately, in 1966, the icon was stolen and has not been seen since then. But St. Timothy gives us a great example of one who avoided conflict in his life, who would not let the evil one influence him unduly, and in fact was able to conquer him by his humility and by his prayer. May that same be said by his prayers of all of us.